Welcome to Secrets of Saturday Morning Cartoons. Today, we're jumping into a high-speed, laugh-out-loud classic, Wacky Races. This still wasn't just about cars. It was about chaos, comedy, and some of the most memorable characters ever created. Whether you were rooting for Penelope Pitstop, laughing at Muttley's snickering, or shaking your head at Dick Dastardly's doom schemes, Wacky Races had something for everyone. So let's rewind to where it all began. The year is 1968. Hanna-Barbera Productions is already the undisputed king of Saturday morning cartoons. They already brought us the Flintstones, the Jetsons, and Scooby-Doo. But when they dreamed up Wacky Races, they decided to take a different approach. Instead of a storyline with a beginning, middle, and end, every episode would be built around one thing: a race. No overreaching plot, no mystery to solve, just pedal to the metal fun. Now, the inspiration for Wacky Races came from a surprising place: a 1965 live-action comedy called The Great Race. The film, starring Tony Curtis, Jack Lemmon, and Natalie Wood, was a comedic take on a cross-country race filled with larger-than-life characters and outlandish stunts. Sound familiar? Hanna-Barbera took that concept and cranked it up to 11. What if every racer was a walking cartoon stereotype? What if every car was an extension of its driver's personality? And what if chaos wasn't just part of the race, it was the race? The result was Wacky Races, which premiered on September 14th, 1968 on CBS. And unlike traditional cartoons, which followed a single protagonist, a central storyline, Wacky Races was an ensemble show. Each episode was structured around a new race in a new location filled with obstacles, traps, and of course, plenty of laughs. There wasn't just one hero. Every racer had their moment to shine, even if Dick Dastardly never quite managed to cross the finish line. And speaking of Dick Dastardly, he was the show's standout villain, or perhaps its standout character, period. Dastardly wasn't your run-of-the-mill bad guy. He was a full-blown caricature, complete with a long twirling mustache, a booming laugh, and an endless supply of harebrained schemes. His car, the Mean Machine, was a marvel of cartoon engineering, packed with every gadget a cheater could dream of. Spike strips, rocket boosters, you name it. But no matter how clever his traps were, they always seemed to backfire, leaving him stuck in last place. Now, of course, Dastardly wouldn't have been half as memorable without his sidekick, Muttley. With his wheezing, snickering laugh and ever-present loyalty, tinged with just a hint of exasperation, Muttley was more than a sidekick. He was a co-conspirator, a foil, and at times the comic relief to Dastardly's over-the-top schemes. Dick Dastardly and Muttley may have been the standouts, but Wacky Races was far from a one-trick show. What made it truly remarkable was its ensemble cast of racers. Each team brought their own flair, humor, and unique brand of chaos to the competition. And their cars, well, they were just as much a part of the story as the characters themselves. Take Penelope Pitstop, for example. She wasn't just a token female racer. She was a force to be reckoned with. Dressed in pink, from head to toe, and driving the equally pink compact pussycat, Penelope combined charm and cleverness to outwit her rivals. But her car wasn't just for show. It was packed with beauty-themed gadgets like a turbocharged hairdryer and a lipstick launcher that she used to get out of tight spots. And let's not forget her voice, brought to life by the incredible Janet Waldo. Waldo gave Penelope a sweet southern drawl that made her instantly likable, but she also infused the character with plenty of sass and determination, making sure Penelope was never underestimated. Then there was Peter Perfect, a self-proclaimed gentleman racer. His Turbo Terrific was the sleekest car in the lineup, or at least it was until it inevitably fell apart mid-race. Now, Peter's unwavering optimism and over-the-top chivalry, paired with Dawes Butler's polished vocal performance, made him a fan favorite. Now, Butler's ability to balance Peter's arrogance with a sense of earnestness turned what could have been a one-note character into one of the show's most endearing. And of course, no discussion of Wacky Races would be complete without mentioning the Anthill Mob. This group of point-sized gangsters crammed themselves into a bulletproof bomb, a car that looked like it had been stolen straight out of the 1920s bank heist, and the mob's antics were a comedic highlight, whether they were working together to repair their car or accidentally sabotaging their own chances of winning. Their fast-talking chatter and slapstick humor added a layer of unpredictability to every episode. And then you had the gruesome twosome. Big gruesome, little gruesome, and their creepy coupe. Their car wasn't just spooky, it was alive. With bats circling the roof and a dragon ready to breathe fire on command, the creepy coupe was as much a character as its drivers. The gruesome twosome leaned into their horror-themed persona with gusto, often using their car's supernatural powers to gain an edge in the race. Their dynamic added a gothic flair to the lineup, setting them apart from the more traditional racers. But let's not forget the Slag brothers, Rock and Gravel, who drove the Boulder Mobile. These prehistoric cavemen brought a Flintstones-like energy to the race, often bashing their cars or each other's with wooden clubs to keep things moving. Now, the brute force approach to racing was a constant source of laughs, and their grunting communication style only added to their charm. Now, every racer and car was a carefully crafted combination of personality, humor, and creativity. The result was a cast so diverse and dynamic that no two episodes ever felt the same. The animators and writers made sure that each team had their moment to shine, ensuring that fans always had someone to root for or laugh at. Now let's dive into what truly set Wacky Races apart. The races themselves. Now these weren't your average storied away competitions. Each race was a chaotic adventure filled with wild environments, unpredictable hazards, and of course, the antics of the racers. Now, every episode featured a new location, from deserts with towering sand dunes to snowy mountain passes to dense forests filled with falling trees and quicksand. And then there were the traps. Oh, the traps. Dick Dastardly's schemes were the stuff of legend. This wasn't just a villain setting a simple obstacle. This was a man who treated every race like a personal stage for his over-the-top theatrics, whether it was creating a fake tunnel that collapsed on him or building a detour sign that led straight off a cliff. And of course, Dastardly wasn't alone in his shenanigans. Muttley, his little but mischievous sidekick, was always by his side, snickering through every failure. Now, Don Messig's voice work made Muttley unforgettable. That wheezy laugh was more than just a sound, it was a commentary. It was as if Muttley was saying, "You had to know this wasn't going to work, right?" Now, Messig's talent for creating a character with so few actual words was nothing short of remarkable. Between his muttered grumbles and his metal-loving daydreams, Muttley became a standout character in a cast full of them. The beauty of Wacky Races was that even though you knew Dick Dastardly would never win, the journey to the finish line was always unpredictable. The writers made sure to rotate the winners, giving each racer the moment of glory. Now, the pacing of Wacky Races was another one of its strengths. There wasn't a single wasted moment. From the starting line to the finish, every second was packed with action, humor, and surprises. Now, the writers and animators worked together seamlessly to keep the energy high, ensuring that the audience was always engaged. It was this constant set of motion, both literal and figurative, that made the show so addictive. You couldn't look away because you didn't want to miss what crazy thing would happen next. Now, of course, none of this would have worked without the incredible talent of the voice cast. The unsung hero of the show, voiced by legendary Daws Butler, the narrator, wasn't just a disembodied voice explaining the action. He was part of the humor. Now, Butler gave the narrative a playful, almost conspiratorial tone, as though he was watching the chaos unfold right alongside. Now, his delivery was sharp and witty, perfectly timed to land every punchline. And when Dick Dastardly was setting up yet another doomed trap, the narrator's teasing commentary, "Will he finally win? Don't bet on it," made the comment even funnier. Now, Butler's range as a voice actor was astounding. Not only did he narrate the action, but he also played Peter Perfect, the dashing gentleman racer. Even the supporting characters had memorable voices. The Slag brothers, grunts and growls, the anthill mobs, fast talking schemes, and gruesome twosome spooky banter all added layers to the show. Let's talk about the cars. These weren't just vehicles, they were characters in their own right, and each car was uniquely designed to match its driver, as they were loaded with quirks and gadgets and that made every race feel fresh. Now, the creativity that went into these designs was staggering, and it's a big part of what made Wacky Races so memorable. So, as we cross the finish line of this episode, let's take a moment to appreciate what Wacky Races gave us. It wasn't just a cartoon. It was a chaotic, colorful, laugh-out-loud experience that reminded us of pure fun of Saturday mornings, which is what this channel is all about. And until next time, keep your engines revving, avoid Dastardly's traps, and remember, sometimes the best part of the race isn't winning, but enjoying the ride. Now, thanks for joining us on this deep dive into Wacky Racers. And if you enjoyed this episode, which I hope you did, please don't forget to like and subscribe. It kind of helps us do more episodes. And till next time, keep your engines running, stay out of the quicksand, and remember, shooters never win. See you next Saturday.